Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a glute hamstring forearm day or deadlift day. Let's get right into this. So I decided when I started doing the deadlifts, I wanted to see if I could do 495 for multiple sets. That was going to be the game plan, just like I'm doing kind of with the bench press and squat on the power building. But I did this set and I'm realizing, man, I did a triple. And with this stiff bar, my grip is a bit of a limiting factor still. So I've realized, even though I'm cutting, even though I'm working physique, I really need the extra grip work. And again, having thicker forearms is never going to really hurt your aesthetics from a bodybuilding perspective. So I did realize until I get that grip up, I'm just going to double down on that. And I'm just going to do enough accessory work on the reverse hyper and everything to keep it going instead of trying to do all these sets of deadlifts. So again, since that felt rough, I'm like, let's go over to the fat bar and let's just do 3 sets with the axle bar. Because I used the axle bar for a bunch of stuff years ago when my grip needed work. And once I got there, I was pulling 600 plus on a stiff bar and just holding it at the top. So once I did a bunch of axle bar work, when I first kind of got the deadlift past 600 here on the tubes, first time I did it since my 20s, I just grabbed a stiff bar. It wasn't even a deadlift bar, and I held it at the top for a second and talked and was like, yeah, and then set it down. But I had done all this axle bar work. So I do feel like at this point, this is a good addition. Again, also keeping in mind the forearm aesthetic side of it. So the other thing, some people are like, well, why are you doing the mixed grip on this instead of the double overhand? Because I do want to be efficient in my work. And even though it's kind of light, like people are like, that's not heavy for you, I still feel a good pump in my glutes and hamstrings, okay? And as funny as it sounds, because I just did that heavier deadlift set, that area is kind of lit up still. It's really receptive. And so I feel like there is still a little bit of stimulus occurring there. And I'm fully aware that it's nowhere near failure for those, but I'm still feeling them work. And so I'm like, yeah, let's just do it this way, and it'll have better carryover there. But the thing is, all of these sets, my forearms were just devastated. And again, it was the extensors. Like when I'm doing these, I feel the extensors, they were on fire, like someone just taking a blowtorch to them. Okay. See that big vein across that left arm there, across that top, that whole area, right? It got lit up. And I mean, realistically, that also tells me I do need to thicken all of that up more. And I know I've got pretty decent forearms because I do the forearm shots and stuff on camera. But they could stand to get stronger. They could stand to get thicker. So we are going to double down on the forearm work on this day. I just simply have to have it for the grip because I feel like my deadlift feels strong. It's like if I just walked in straps, I feel like I could deadlift a ton. But I'm also wanting to use that stiff bar, and I want to use that stiff bar deadlift as a hypertrophy tool too in this whole power building approach, but I've got to get the grip on point to do it so that I can be efficient with it in the future. I do feel like this extra work is going to get me where I need to be with that, and then I'll be able to walk in and just mog that stuff and be good to go. Because I've done that in the past before, and I mean, I get thick. I get really thick from volume deadlifting. And what I mean volume is even if I come in to do triples with 500 or whatever, it works really well for me. So again, but the problem is that my relative strength relative to where my grip is these days is down. But again, we come over to, if you're going to bodybuild, you should be training your forearms. We absolutely need solid forearms for aesthetics. So that's what we're going to do. So essentially, I use the reverse hypers here to get all this done, right? We use the reverse hypers and did 4 sets of these. Doing these super strict now. Got a phenomenal pump in the whole posterior chain, right? Low back because I'm doing these really high reps, super strict. The burn was good, really happy with it. And you guys know how I feel about the reverse hyper. I'm an enormous fan for back health reasons, rehab and everything, but also it does build my deadlift. So I do feel like here, even though I'm not getting quite the volumes of deadlifts I want because of the forearm and grip, and no, for me, just strapping up is not the solution because I need to address the grip and the forearms. That's what needs to be addressed. I can do all this other stuff until then. And eventually I'll be able to just do more volumes of deadlifts like I used to do and get there. But again, I'm wanting to do that stiff bar. I'm wanting to even eventually maybe work some deficits in. But again, my grip better be on point. So grip and forearms are going to be the name of the game. So outside of just the deadlift work, which again, I got some extra stimulus from the axle bar pulls, especially going double overhand lets me add, an extra plate. Okay. Then we come in and just really just light all of those same areas up with the reverse hyper. And this hits a pretty large amount of volume. One of the few muscles I will put volume on is going to be my low back. But again, my low back doesn't ever limit my deadlifts. Okay. So I feel like if I do this, we'll be back on point. But the grip. I'm going to have to almost, grip specialize, at least for this one day. Right, this one day every week. Of course, I do all my pull-ups and curls and stuff on my back and bicep day, and that helps. Absolutely helps. But the forearms, they're going to have the work. And while I'm going to do the wrist curls at the end, they only work the other side. I feel like the extensors, though, really get hammered on that axle bar. Plus, I feel like the extensors are almost a limiting factor. They feel like a limiting factor on my deadlift right now. And they get fatigued and pump really easily. So again, need to double down and just work them. I need to get my forearms so strong that I can walk over and pull 600 plus like I used to when I used to do all this axle bar work and fat work and just stand there with it in my hands and nod and talk. Okay. Also, then we come back over to the whole aesthetics and bodybuilding side again. What's that going to do for my aesthetics? Right? You get those forearms thicker and veinier and striated, get them thicker, right? That density, always going to help you look better, especially in a shirt, guys, because we're not walking around shirtless most of the time. We start walking around in a t-shirt. Chiseled, thick forearms look good. Again, we're going to talk about dad bod to daddy. Right? You won't be daddy when you're walking around in a t-shirt. Big old thick set of forearms. Hard and vascular like a cock. Right? Just saying. So on these, the first set I tried to do 205. I don't know why I thought I could do 205. I got about 5 reps and had to stop. Silly me, because I'm wanting to progressively overload this, and because last week I did the 185. It was too much. So we went down to the 185 for 2 sets. I got about 8 reps. My forearms were still just ridiculously on fire. They're ridiculously on fire. So we did the 2 sets of 8 and called it a day. You guys will see here at the end, I do a little bit of a forearm pose right here at the very end after the last set. Again, forearms they're looking pretty good, to be honest. I mean, you can see the angles there. But they need to come up, just like my triceps and biceps need to come up. Really, for me, other than body fat continuing to get leaner, I feel like arms in general just need to come up. Triceps, biceps, forearms, all of it. Just get it bigger. It'll improve my aesthetics as I continue to get leaner. So you'll see the forearm shot here. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.